With anima, I even say in the training, in the original videos, pay attention to the smallest particles. So I know it can be confusing when I tell you don't pay attention to the particles. The thing is, pay attention to the particles in anima until you reach the smallest point of it and you go further. And then you reach the unified state of consciousness beyond particles, non-granular. In Mahima, the ego wants to do the same thing. We do Mahima and we want to stretch out. And we imagine that we as a human expand. And that's still the human ego wanting to impose itself on the universe. The thing is, with Mahima, you know that you are local here. Your perception center is from your central nervous system right here. You know you're incarnate in this body, and this is where you are as a self. However, you pay attention to the whole, and you recognize that you're already that too. Okay? So instead of using Mahima to expand yourself, well, you can do this actually as a training, but it's still just a stepping stone where the ego tries to impose itself onto the universe. You are here, and with anima you're conscious of how subtle consciousness is through everything. And with Mahima, you're aware of the immensity of it. And that will naturally stretch and expand your consciousness to where it wants to go. So you see, the ego always has a way of trying to hold on to something to not fully embrace the spiritual reality. Okay? So with Garima and Lagima, something similar will happen. Okay? So with Garima, we pay attention. Garima. The heaviest. Okay? Now, with Garima, we're not trying to become heavy. That's the ego trying to do something. Rather, with Garima, realize what is already the heaviest. You pay attention to the body, you pay attention to your mass. Now, there's a reason why that was removed from some of the yogic traditions, the Garima. They go from Anima, Mahima, Lagima immediately and move on. They don't have the Garima, okay? And I explain here why. In order to affect something, your consciousness has to be there already. You have to be aware of it. You have to pay attention to something if you want to affect it supernaturally. Now, if there's something you don't like, you won't be able to affect it. So if you don't have compassion and forgiveness, you won't be able to affect it. In this sense, if you don't enjoy someone, if you hate someone, you'd rather not see them. So you have reaction, therefore your consciousness doesn't want to go towards that person. Or your consciousness goes toward that person in the destructive way, but usually you want to avoid a certain person and you try to ignore that person's existence when you don't like that person. Okay? So with consciousness is the same. If you don't like something, if you don't enjoy something, you're probably not going to enjoy a sickness. But if you have so much anger and hatred and denial regarding a sickness, you won't be able to supernaturally affect it. In terms of a sickness, what you have to do is acknowledge that it's some phenomena in nature and you have it. Okay? Not deny, I don't have it, I want to just visualize I'm pure and healthy. You have it. You know you have it, okay? Then you can pay attention to your sickness and embrace it and feel everything about it. Now your consciousness goes into the sickness because you will at least embrace it. And from that point of embracement, then you switch in manifestation mode and boom, make you feel healthy. Make yourself completely healed supernaturally. Okay? So that's how you affect something with consciousness. So in order for Lagima to produce results with your physical mass or with all of your bodies, for Lagima to produce a result, you have to first embrace what you are made of, which is densified consciousness. Garima is an embracing of the density. Okay, not the negative pejorative terms, density that means negative energy in the New Age, but density in terms of compression of consciousness until it became solid mass, okay? Or actually the density of all your planes, emotional, mental, vital, and beyond, the wisdom, the karma, the consciousness, and all even beyond that. So the level of density that you're made of, Garima is that contemplation of dense consciousness. That consciousness is compacted, dense, all right? Okay. So, in your contemplation of Garima, rather than try to be heavy, just pay attention to what is dense. You are local, you're here, and pay attention to what is dense. First, you pay attention to your body. And you just recite Garima. And you think because you have a nervous system and you feel on your skin and you see your body that you understand density, but you don't. All you have so far before the Garima training is the perception of density. You don't have the awareness, the conscious embracing of what density really feels like. What you have first as a human is perception. You feel the weight of your chair under your butt. You feel gravity pull you. You feel when you hit something, a chair, a wall, you feel the resistance and the stopping power, but you don't have consciousness of actual density of what it is made of in terms of compacted consciousness. Okay, so to practice Garima correctly, we have to let go of what we perceive of what is heavy and dense, and we simply practice Garima in mind of being conscious of what is the densest experience of consciousness. There you will gain awareness of what is dense and heavy. Okay, so do not do the little ego trick. I want to be heavy, Garima, Garima, Garima. Although it works, I was riding on a highway at 130 kilometers an hour in the winter. There was a big, huge patch of ice, because in Canada there's like, you can have 100 meters of ice, and the car wanted to start to go around. But all I did when I felt the car go like this, I just went Garima, and I went into the power of density. Not because I recited once, but because I have years of training, all right? And the car just went, and my tires were grasping on that ice, and my weight was in the direction I wanted, and we kept on moving, and then we slowed down, because then I realized, oh, it's that time of the year now. I have to slow down. I have to be in my winter driving mode now. So I switched. But it didn't come to my mind until I saw the first patch of ice on that year. Okay, so Garima works multiple times. Garima saved my ass on the road, because in Canada stuff happens. Okay, in any case. For this practice to gain the power of Garima, you can't just wish for that power to happen. First, Garima is a contemplation of what is dense. You take the time to realize it, to embrace it, to acknowledge that is the density. And everything you perceive in terms of gaze with your eyes, with your skin, as heavy was just a perception. It wasn't a consciousness. It was just an idea you had with your mind. Now you go into the real experience of Garima. And we'll talk about Lagima tomorrow.